This is going to be a little fun extra demo, and I'm going to show you a couple of things that you may find useful. I'm going to be using my brick outhouse here as an example. And the first thing I'm going to do is, as you notice, now if you ever to render this, you're going to notice that there is, let's make that go away, there's just a black background here. And there's just open void space. And what I'm going to try to do is put some kind of depth and some background there very easily without having to build any geometry. One of the first things I'm going to want to do is let's get a camera view perspective. I'm going to go into my camera settings here, and this is just for the perspective camera that I'm going to be using to render. And I'm going to go here and I'm going to show resolution gate. And what that does is that shows what's going to be rendered. And then I can also go into the camera settings here and do overscan as well. And that shows me what is going to render, which is going to be inside this frame here. And it kind of shows me what's outside of it as well, because that can be kind of useful. The other thing that is going to be useful if I want to create like a background, like a distant background, is to maybe expand out the ground plane a little bit. And let's just take a look here. I'm going to do a little quick render here, and you're going to see that I have like a bump texture, like to have some grass there, and I can see off of the edge there like that. And you know, I'm not too crazy about that. I'm going to make this go away real quick. Let's come back here. So I'm going to select my ground plane, and I'm just going to scale it up. And I can do that quite a bit. And you can scale it in this direction and that direction if you need to move it. And I'm just doing something real quick and rough here. I'm not going to get too fancy with it. You can get much fancier with it if you want. And let's just see what we have here. And yeah, okay, so now if you can see, we have kind of more of a horizon. It's going to scale up the bump texture a little bit, and you might need to fix that. But as you can see, it looks like that we're having like a plain horizon, and we have a lone outhouse out in a grassy field. So I want to put a background behind there. So what I'm going to first do, I'm going to zoom out a little bit, and I'm going to create a NURB plane. And so we go create NURB primitives, and I'm going to create a NURB plane just like that. It's going to come in underneath because the outhouse there, and it's going to be pretty small. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to zoom in on this a little bit. I'm going to start to make this bigger, and I'm just going to scale that up in both directions. And what I'm going to plan to do is I put in my source images in my project folder. So I'm going to map this sky background, and you can see it's kind of a panoramic sky. I downloaded this off of a free background, 3dtextures.com I believe it is, and you can use these backgrounds for educational purposes. So I'm going to put this background onto this plane here, and then I'm going to position the plane like a backdrop for like a stage thing, and it works very well. So with the NURB plane selected, I'm going to go right click over it, go to assign new material, and I'm going to assign a Lambert, go into the color section, go into this little checkerboard, and I'm going to find a file. I'm going to go to, it's going to bring up the create render node. It's going to bring up, and I want to press file. You know that it came in because it's white now, and it's going to give me what file do I want, image name, and I'm going to go to this folder, click on that folder, and find that file right there. I'm going to open it up, and as you can see, that comes in quite nicely. I have a image on the back of this image plane here, and now if I select it, I can scale this up, scale it to size, and whatever. And I'm going to need to make that pretty big. First thing I want to do is I'm going to orient it to the camera. So I'm going to rotate it like this. Let's go here, and I'm going to rotate it 90 degrees in the X. I can just type that in there like that, or you can do it by hand. It doesn't really matter. Let's get rid of the attributes window. And I'm going to bring it back like that. If this resolution gate is bothering you, you can always turn it off. It's kind of bugging me right now. So I'm going to go to my camera settings, and I'm going to turn the resolution gate off for now. Come on, turn it off. Oh, no gate. Oops. I'm going to turn on no gate. So I'm just going to get this image plane here, and I'm going to need to scale this way up. And I'm going to bring it out like that. And I'm going to orient it just like that. And I've just sort of positioned this plane with the sky in it. Now would actually be a good time to bring up the resolution gate so I can frame up my outhouse, and I'm going to move it over a little bit like that. And you can also point it towards the camera. Let's do a little test render here. And as you can see, I have a nice little background there. It's a very quick and easy way of putting in a background. It's actually a industry standard way. You might say, well, that's cheating. Well, not really. A lot of motion pictures and a lot of 3D is done that way, where they will make a matte painting in the back. It's low poly, it doesn't use up a lot of memory, and it has very effective results here. You can paint your own background if you want in Photoshop or whatever medium you like. You can take your own photos. But as you can see, I have a nice little kind of background environment thing going on here. The next thing I'd want to do is light it so the light matches, and I will get into that in another lecture.